Hi, my name is Sarah, and today I am doing my very first book review. And so I have been waiting for this book for like forever, but even though it's been a year. So let's get started with A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. So, A Court of Mist and Fury, for those who don't know, is the retelling of Hades' Persephone. The first one was A Court of Thorns and Roses, which was a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. And so this book takes off right where it ended, well, like 3 months after, but right where it ended. So for non-spoilers, basically Feyre, she is like broken on the inside after having died as a human, being reborn as a high fae. And her deal with Rhysand comes to play, so she has to go to the Night Court once a week, every month. And in doing so, she finds out that the King of Hybern, which owns a kingdom across the seas, is planning something like collecting an army. And Rhys needs her help, and in doing so, she joins him in this little rag team of friends, and they try to save their home. So it's pretty amazing. My only regret is that I read it like when it came out, and now I have to wait for like another year, which I don't like. So for those who haven't read it yet, go get it. You'll love it. You'll instantly not want to put it down. You just want to read it all the way to the end. You're like, no, why? Because that's what I was like when I read it. So, non-spoilers, just go read it and come back and just see what you think. Now, for spoilers, for those who've read it, and it's like, oh my god, the first thing I gotta talk about is Tamlin. Yes, Tamlin. He has become a little whiner and clinger to Feyre. Like, yeah, they both have PTSD at this point. Like, Feyre has nightmares. She has to go to the restroom and throw up. She's starting to lose weight, and Tamlin's like not helping her. He's just keeping her all in a bubble, basically. She's like, everything's fine. We made it. Everything's gonna be great. The wedding's around the corner. No. She needs like to talk with someone. He doesn't want to talk about it. And Lucien, he wants to help Feyre. He wants to like, take her out of the estate, go places and stuff, but Tamlin like ordered him no, so he wants to help a friend, but he has to listen to his High Lord, and like he's in the middle, like where he doesn't want to be. Then we have this new character, a high priestess of the Summer Court named Eneth. I think that's how you pronounce it, Eneth. She has her perks. She teaches Feyre traditions of the Spring Court, and that's all the good I can say about her, because I want to punch her teeth in. She's doing stuff to Feyre. She's being a friend, but she's also like grooming her, making her pretty, just staying by her side. And then the wedding comes around, and Feyre's in this ugly green dress. Everyone from the Spring Court is there. Tamlin's like, oh, we're gonna be married and stuff. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be perfect. And inside, Feyre's like, help me. Someone, please help me. And then someone shows up and crashes the wedding. It's like, no one said, I've lost my invitation, but don't worry. I invited myself. Rhysand shows up at the wedding and takes her. He calls in the weak thing. Yeah, we gotta do it. So he takes her in front of everyone and takes her to the Night Court. Yeah. So a thing about the Night Court, that and the Dawn and the Day Court, they don't go by magic, so they're not like the spring or the autumn or the summer or the winter court, which is always that season. They get their regular 4-season thing. So it's kind of cool, really. Night Court's the biggest one up in the north, and Rhysand, he's like nice to Feyre. So the first week they're there, he teaches her how to read, and she's like, I don't want to read. But in doing so, he also teaches her how to create shield around her mind. It's like how he's known to going in there and in doing the reading, he is like, the High Lord is the most magnificent man. The High Lord is the best man ever. So she's like, kill me now. And during her first week, she meets Rhys's cousin, Morrigan, but she goes by Moore, and she's the daughter of the High Lord to the court of Nightmares, which is the court that Amarantha based her court off of. Little Miss Copycat. And then so at the end of the week, she goes back to Tamlin, who's like, don't worry, we're gonna find a way out of this little bargain. You won't have to be tortured by him and blah blah blah. But before that, he's like, okay, tell me, what did you see? What's the layout? He starts using Feyre as a spy, which she doesn't appreciate. So the month goes by again, and she goes back to the Night Court, where Rhys does the same thing, teaches her how to read. But before she leaves, he takes her to a room where he has a map of the realm, of the other courts, and the one of Hybern. He says that he believes that Hybern is forming an army to attack the courts, and he wants Feyre to be part of the team. So he like, you don't have to do it. This is your choice. I'm giving you a choice here. And so she just thinks about it when she goes back to the Spring Court. And so Tamlin, he's trying to think, everything's gonna be fine and stuff. No, you don't have special abilities, which Rhys suspects, considering she was a human brought back by the other High Fae. And Ineth is like, oh, this would be bad if everyone found out and stuff. And Lucian, he's just trying to be a good friend. He's like, she needs to learn how to use these abilities if they're there. She needs to learn how to fight. But Tamlin's like, no. So in doing so, she learns that she has an ability for wind. Because Tamlin, he freaks out one moment when he gives Feyre a little painting set because she has been painting again, and she comments about back at Amarantha and how she feels like she's drowning, and he's like basically the one drowning her, and he blows up the room, but she has this wall of wind protecting her, which is pretty cool, right? So he's like, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine and stuff. Well, also when she's at the Tamlin's place, she also finds out she can shapeshift because her hands turn into claws, and Lucian keeps that a secret to being a good friend. Well, they find out that something's going on close to the wall, and Feyre wants to help, but Tamlin's like, no, you're staying here, you'll be protected and stuff. And she's like, no, I want to go and help. And it's like, no, you are staying here, and that is an order. And he like goes, bam, she can't get out of the house. So he did with Amarantha, he locked her up. And because of that, Feyre freaks out, and instead of causing wind or shapeshifting, she gets these shadows that just engulf her, and those people who are inside the mansion like freak out. But then more shows up. She does some protocol and gets Feyre out of there. She meets up with Rhys, and they go back to the Night Court where she stays for a few months and stuff. And she eventually writes down and saying, "This is my home now. Don't come looking for me." So turns out Rhys also has another court called the Court of Dreams, where it was founded with him and his friends, with Morgan Moore being his third in command. Second in command, her name is Amren. She is like Feyre. She was once something, no one knows what, but was turned into a fairy, and she's considered like the oldest, like they from the beginning probably, and she was turned into a fairy. So then we have the Illyrians, that's what I call them. They're Illyrian soldiers. They're like Rhys because he's a half-breed. His mother was Illyrian, and that's how he has wings. They're bastards, and they're considered like brothers. One's name is Azazel, who is also a shadow singer. He can control shadows, and he is in charge. He's Rhys's spy master. The other one's name is Cassian, and he's in charge of Rhys's army. So they're both warriors. They have these cool little Sephim jewels that control their magic, and since they're bastards, no one believes they would, but they have more than one, so their magic is amazing. And they are all trying to figure a way how to prevent Hybern from coming over to these courts, and they want Feyre's help. So we find a city in the Night Court called Phalaris, which was founded like 5,000 years ago, and no one ever found out, especially Amarantha, because Rhys wiped the memory of his precious city from the fairies from the Nightmare Court to keep it safe. And so it's beautiful. Like, if it was, I'm not gonna say utopia, but it's just beautiful. Feyre, she starts finding herself in that city as well, and it becomes her home eventually because she decides to stay in the Night Court because it's just she finds herself again. So her and Rhys, they go to what's called the prison, where the most dangerous fairies go there, but they never leave. And they meet a person called the Bone Collector, who takes the form of different people. So Feyre's talking to like an 8-year-old boy. He talks about the cauldron and how back then, to stop its power, 3 feet were cut off from it and given to the high priestesses. Well, we find out that Hybern's been sending raids to the temples, and it's got the feedback, right? So, and in doing so, they need what's called the book, which, if they have it, it can negate the cauldron's power, which is to turn people into fairies. Well, it was cut in half when the war between the fairies and the humans were done. Like, it was a treaty, and it was shown as a goodwill. Well, the one book is at the summer court, but guarded by the High Lord, and the other one is by the queens, the mortal queens. So Azazel, he's going to try to find a way how to get the book, while Rhys, Feyre, and Amaranth go to the summer court and try to get the other book. In doing so, they meet Tarquin, who is the High Lord of the summer court. He's like in his 80s, considered the youngest fairy ever, but he is very idealistic. He sees a world where high fae and lesser fae can walk together without the titles. They'd just be fae. And Tarquin, he reminds me of Archer. Like, I don't know if he knows Archer or anything, but he, like, from Fate Stay Night, he has like dark skin, and white hair, and he's like amazing. He's understanding, and he takes a quick liking to Feyre because they're kind of the same in a way. So he takes her a tour places, and while Feyre is looking for the book, because apparently she's like an oops detector. Like, I forgot to mention this. Rhys tried out this theory about her being able to sense objects that were embedded with the High Lord's power. So he sends her to the Weaver's cottage, which is like this blind fae lady. Like, if you steal something for her, she'll kill you. So she finds a ring that Rhys had embedded with his power. She breaks out through a chimney because the Weaver finds out she's in the cottage, and the only way out is through the chimney. So yeah, she's an oops detector. So she's at the summer court looking for the book. Well, she eventually finds a pool to an old tower by the ocean, and it turns out that's where they're hiding the book, because, like, it's old and stuff. No one wants to go looking through there. And at the summer court is where Feyre learns how she has the ability to control water, which helps them out in a way. Because her and Amaranth, they go into the tower. The book, like, feels the presence of the High Lord, and it's like, who are you? It's like, I am Tarquin. I am your master, Feyre. And it's like, when she gets the book, it's like, liar. And it closes the door and it starts flooding in. Well, she uses the water to help them try to get out, but these creatures, like the water wraiths, help save them because they owe a debt to Feyre. Then Rhys takes them back to the night court, and during there they find out that the queens will meet up with them, but only at a certain area, because Azazel couldn't get in. There's like some type of boundary keeping his shadows from getting in. Well, it's the next day, and Rhys has these 3 rubies, one for him, Feyre, and Amaranth, and he tells her that it's an old custom that the High Lords at the summer court would send a ruby per person of those who were considered the enemy. Well, yeah. Rhys actually respects Tarquin, so I think they'll be able to smooth things over with the High Lord, and if they give half of the book back, then nothing happened. We were just borrowing, which they are. So they go to the human realm beyond the wall. Surprised they didn't see Tamlin. And so they see Nesta and Elaine. So things about their sisters. Elaine's getting married to this Lord's son who's completely against Faye, and Nesta. Hashtag Kesta, because, Cassie and Nesta? Because Nesta, she doesn't appreciate that there's fairies in her house, because their dad's across the sea doing merchant business, and so she's the lady. So everything she says goes, and Cassie is like, you're a human, you don't have to tell us what to do, we just need your place to stay out. Like, this is my house, so either you follow my rules or get out, and I'll be the one kicking your butt out. There's a future there. There's like a real future. So yeah, hashtag Kesta. So during their Rhys trains Feyre, and they get attacked by one of the fairies that used to work with Amarantha. And during the time, during that little fight sequence, Feyre winnows for the first time, and she doesn't appreciate that Rhys used her as bait because he suspected. Well, Azazel, he takes the ferry, and they interrogate him back at the Night Court. During there, Feyre, Rhys, and Moore, and Cassian, Cassian. They talk with the queens. There's the old queen, the golden queen. The true queens are that wear the opposite colors of each other, and a young queen, and there's one missing. They're like, we don't trust you. You gotta show us something to trust us, and we're out. They winnow. Like a little secret that they learned from the ancestors, but they winnow, so that can't be good. The only way how to prove that they're telling the truth, that they have a common enemy and they need each other's help, is that Rhys has to show them something that no one else knows. That means he's got to show them Valeris. And in doing so, they need to go to the Court of Nightmares to get this little orb that will show an illusion, and it's of the truth. And so he warns Feyre that if they go there, she's got to be something that she's not, but everyone believes that she is. So she's like, this is how we get Hybern, and this is how we do it. So before there, she finds out that Rhys has nightmares as well, being under the mountain, and they just know how to talk with each other. She's like, if you need to talk to someone, I'm here for you. I'll just give you your space. And it's like, spoiler alert, the bond, and not the little tattoo bond. So they go down to the Court of Nightmares, where Moore's father's in control, little bastard, and they believe that Feyre is Rhys's pet, and in doing so, while they're distracting everyone at the courts, Azazel goes in and steals the orb and gets back out, and Rhys is like, you know what, our time is over here, let's skedaddle. And then Moore's father's like, he leans over to Feyre like, you get everything coming your way. And then Rhys, with his mind, breaks his arm. It's like, oh, and if I find out you get healers to help heal your arm, there's going to be more breaking. And Moore's like, So they get the orb, and to wait for the queens, who taking their precious time responding, they go to an Illyrian camp. It's one of the camps that Rhys, Cassian, and Azazel were trained at, and we find out that they're trying to train women because they're considered property. When they reach a certain age, the males clip their wings so they can't fly away. So Cassian and Rhys, they're trying to help these women become soldiers, and if they're not soldiers, then just how to defend themselves. So, Feyre, it's during there that her and Rhys, they do some more training further out from the camps. They meet Lucian, who says, we've been hunting for you forever. And Feyre's like, hunting? You weren't searching. You were hunting. And that's when she winnows again. She's getting pretty good at that. Rhys shows up using a sliver of magic, because he was trying not to use any magic in case Hybern soldiers would find out. And she tells Lucian, I left on my free, I don't want to go back. And she uses her shapeshifting abilities and grows wings, right? And Lucian's like, what did he do to you? And she's like, this is who I am. Leave me alone. Tell Tamlin never to come back for me again. And they leave. And so her and Rhys, they share a little night together in an attic of a little hotel. There's only one bed. She's like, don't worry, I'm used to sleeping with my sisters. And Rhys is like, I like to cuddle. And so, yeah, that happens. And so them two, they're training again. They start flying, and he wants to tell her something very important, right? Then they get shot down by ash arrows, poisoned. Hybern soldiers found him when he used that sliver of magic, and he throws Feyre. She's fine. She uses the wind again to protect her. And so she finds out that Rhys has been captured, and she has this pull to him, and she also uses her tracking abilities, and she finds the soldiers. She kills them. Yeah. They leave the arrows that were in Rhys's wings, and they start lashing him. And Feyre's like, no, you're dead. You're like totally dead. And she slaughters them. She gets Rhys out of there, and she knows that there's at night you don't want to be on the ground at night, but she finds a cave, and she traps. Next day she finds out Rhys isn't any good, and so she traps one of those creepy little fairies she met when she was trying to find a way out of the spring court. And they remember her, and so they know she won't kill them. She just wants information. So it tells her how to heal the poison. Like, your mates will need this to survive. And she lets it go. And she's like, wait, mate? But it's gone. She goes back to Reese. She gives him the little antidote. And she's like, are you my mate? Like, a mate for like a bond that can never be broken mate. He's like, I didn't want to tell you. They managed to win up back to the Illyrian court, that little camp. She leaves him, tells Warren to take her somewhere. She takes her to a little cabin, and like they knew, well, Cassian and Cecil suspected, but the girls knew that he was her mate, and they just didn't want to tell her, to pressure her into anything. So she stays at this cabin for like a few weeks. She gets her ability to paint back, which is amazing because she paints like the entire cabin. And then when Reese finds her, because he couldn't use magic, so he's been flying all over the place, he tells her that he knew that she was his mate. Like, he used to get images when he was with Amarantha of this human hand that would paint. He would see other things, and he sent like a little image to that person to see, like, because he missed the night. So Farrah didn't know that day why she would paint the night, but she did their old hut or cottage. And he said that from the day he found her, he didn't want her tied up with anything. He tried to keep her away, and he found out that she was living with Tamlin, that he loved her, and she loved him. He's like, fine, I don't want her to get hurt because of me. So he pretended to be the bad guy. He lied to Amarantha. He didn't know that Claire was a real person, so he took away her ability to feel pain and just told her when to scream, and then he just ended her suffering. And when Feyre showed up, he didn't try to kill Amarantha because that was like, he wanted his name to be remembered. He wanted to do that because, like, she is mine. She is my mate. So he came back to the Night Court, and he told Moore, after 50 years being away from her, that she's my mate. And so he's also giving Feyre the chance to choose if she wants to be his mate. And so she makes him like a little meal and says, eat up, and that's considered like the thing. Like, if a female accepts the male to be her mate, she makes him a meal. They spend a lot of days in bed. That's all I can say. Whew. That's just as bad. Yeah, that's just as bad. So they have both of the books because they go back, and the queens, they see the orb that shows them of Valeris, and the Golden Queen, she sneaks the book to them and doesn't tell the old queen because it's only them two, and she writes a little letter saying the sixth queen wasn't ill. So we're like, uh-oh. So now Amaranth, who's trying to remember how to read these words, she has both the books together, and she says all you have to do is say this, but just don't get it close to the cauldron or something's going to happen. So here they all get ready to go to Highburn, and they break into there, and they find the cauldron, and Feyre's getting ready to read the book when they hear this voice, and it's I call him Jaqen. Jaqen, because he was the one that was in love with, who used Amarantha's sister and then killed her, and then Amarantha tortured him, trapped his soul in a little eyeball and a finger. And now Highburn has resurrected him. Yeah. So they shoot Azazel with an ash arrow, and Highburn is the only one controlling the poison, so they're under his captive. They're captured by him. They go to his court with the cauldron, and guess who walks out of the shadows when Highburn's like, okay, our deal is done. As long as you follow your end of the bargain, I'll follow mine. Tamlin and Lucian walks out of the shadows. And it's like, Tamlin said, you can use my court to break down the wall as long as I get Feyre back. He sold them out just to get her back when she clearly said, no, I don't want you. And so, and best thing of all, the queens were in it because Highburn sent his forces to attack Valeris. The Golden Queen, dead. The shield protecting the city destroyed, and everyone was fighting for their lives. And Feyre went to go help everyone, and she controlled little wild wolves. That was cool. So, yeah, and guess who else they brought besides the little treacherous queens who I will kill you because y'all had no right to do that. They bring Nesta and Elaine, like, to show that the queens, this isn't dangerous. If you want to become young and beautiful and immortal again, we'll show you. We can do it twice. So, that doesn't go so good. And so, they take Elaine, throw her in the cauldron. She washes out as the fairy. And Lucien is, like, all protective of her all of a sudden because Hybern has this power over Tamlin and is like, this is enough. And he binds him in magic, and Lucien is like, you shall not do this, and he gets bound. But when Elaine becomes a fairy, he's like, that is enough, and he gets back up. The magic has no power over him. And Nesta, they call her a little hellcat because she's fighting and stuff, and they throw her into the cauldron. But when Feyre sees her go in, she knows something bad's gonna happen, and she Nesta, watch the king, I curse you and stuff. And it's she comes out as a fairy, and Feyre's this isn't good. So I'm being an optimist right now. I'm calling it Nesta versus Hybern. Yeah, something not good came out of that cauldron. It's Nesta, but maybe not Nesta. So I'm thinking there's gonna be a fight. Feyre's gonna lead the army. Everything's gonna go alright, but Nesta's gonna have to throw down with Hybern. Great fight, almost death, but she's gonna defeat Hybern. I call it. And it's when Nesta goes to Elaine, you find out Lucien's she's my mate. Elaine is my mate. And we're oh my god. And then Hybern's you see, queens, it works. And not only that, you might even get a pretty high lord as your mate. Feyre manages to say a spell to get free, and she goes all transformation, but Hybern gets control of her again, and Tamlin's what did you do to Rhys? Well, Feyre, after seeing what happened to Elaine and Nesta, she explodes into a ball of light because she can winnow, transform, control water, control wind, and we also find out she can control wind, fire, shadows, water, and wind. Yeah, I'm not good at counting on my fingers, as you can see. So she goes all light bulb. She pretends that she broke away from Rhys's control. Hybern destroys the little bond of the 1 week thing, and Tamlin takes her back to the spring court. Well, Rhys gets a hold of Nesta and Elaine and his friends, and they go back to the night court. Well, you find out there that they did complete the ceremony for them to be bonded. So on her other arm is a tattoo saying that she is not the lady of the night court, but the high lady. Rhys made her equal. So now everyone believes that she's back in love with Tamlin. Even the king will think that. So she will be spying on him, knowing his every move. So they'll be preparing for war. While Feyre uses Tamlin because she hates him now and tries to gather information. Well, Lucien, he knows, you know where my mate is. I know you're faking this. What's going to be your game? So both Feyre and Rhys kind of see him as an ally to be used because we know he'll want Elaine back. So it ends with Feyre saying basically Tamlin did not know he was inviting the high lady of the night court. And that's how it ended. Jaqen's alive. Hybern has the cauldron. He has mortal queens that are now fairies. He now has a place to station his army in the spring court to destroy the wall. And it's just gonna be bad. But Feyre, she's got a team. Most likely they'll get the Illyrian camps to help out because they're the strongest warriors. They know how to fight and they're just powerful. I say Tarquinians could come around and be you know what? I'm gonna help you out. Some humans might help out as well. They'll consider them weak and stuff, but that's where they're the strongest. And then most likely we'll probably see more of the courts because I know they don't want to be controlled by Hybern again. So that's my thoughts of the book Feyre, Major Kick-Ass. She has all these cool abilities, and now she's going to be playing double agent. Reese, he, Amarin, Moore, Azazel, and Cassian, they're going to be gathering their forces in the shadows to prepare for the final battle. And that's how it is. This was a great book. I give it totally 5 out of 5 stars. I messed myself up because I read it right when it came out, so I have to wait for another year. And I'm really looking forward to what the next book is called and which cover art is, because look at that. Look at that. It's just beautiful. It's amazing. And I wonder what the next one's going to be, retelling of something else. If not, I'm cool with that. If it is, I want to know what it's about. So Sarah J. Maas, beautiful work as usual, because I've only read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I plan on getting around to Throne of Glass eventually. And so, yeah, if anyone has any comments or opinions of the story, just leave your comments down below. I'd love to find out what your opinion is, and I can't wait for the next book. So, my name is Sarah. This is my first book review. Thank you for watching, and bye!